Settlement and integration. The civil war that erupted in the Iberian Peninsula between the forces of Constantine and Goronotius left the passes through the Pyrenees either purposely or inadvertently neglected, leaving southern Gaul and the Iberian Peninsula vulnerable to barbarian attack. Hydatus documents that crossing into the Iberian Peninsula by the Vandals, Alans, and Suevi took place on either 28 September or 12 October 409. Some scholars take the two dates as the beginning and the end of the crossing of the formidable Pyrenees by scores of thousands, since this could have been accomplished in one day. Could not have been accomplished in one day. Hydatus writes that upon entering of Hispania, the barbarian people and even the Roman soldiers spent 409 to 4010 in a frenzy, plundering food and goods from the sites and the countryside, which caused a famine that, according to Hydatus, forced the locals to resort into cannibalism. Driven by hunger, human beings devoured human flesh. Mothers too feasted upon the bodies of their own children, whom they had killed and cooked with their own hands. In 411, the various barbarian groups brokered a peace and divided the provinces of Hispania among themselves by lot. Many scholars believe that the reference to lot may be to the sortes, or allotments, which barbarian federates received from the Roman government, which suggests that the Suevi and the other invaders had since signed a treaty with Maximus. There is, however, no concrete evidence of the treaties between the Romans and the barbarians. Hydatus never mentions any treaty, and he states that the peace in 411 was brought about the compassion of the Lord, while Orosius asserts that the kings of the Vandals, Alans, and Sueves were actively pursuing a pact similar to that of the Visigoths at a later date. The division of the land among the four barbarian groups went as such. The Scylding Vandals settled in Hispania Baetica. The Alans were allotted the provinces of Lusitania and Hispania Carthaginiensis, and the Hasding Vandals and the Suevi shared the northwestern province of Galatia. The division of Galatia between the Suevi and the Hasding Vandals placed the Suevi in the western province by the Atlantic shores, most probably in the lands now between the cities of Porto in Portugal in the south and Pontevedra in Galatia in the north. Soon Braga would become their capital, and their domain later expanded to Astorga in the region of Lugo and in the valley of the Minho River, with no evidence suggesting that the Suevi inhabited any other cities in the province prior to 438. The initial relation between the Galatia and Suevi were not as calamitous as sometimes suggested. As Hydatus mentions no conflict among the locals between 411 and 430. Furthermore, Orosius affirmed that the newcomers turned their sword into plows once they received their new lands. The Suebi are generally believed to have spoken a Germanic language, and classical sources refer to the Suebian language in particular. The Suebi are associated with the concept of Elbe Germanic group of each dialect spoken by the Erminescens, entering Germany from the east and originating on the Baltic in the late classical times. These dialects, by now situated the south of Elbe and stretched across the Danube in the Roman Empire, experienced the High German consonant shift that defines modern High German languages, and in the most extreme form Upper German, based on the toponymical data. Another Germanic tribe accompanied the Suebi and settled in Portugal. The Buri in the region between the rivers Cavada and Horem, the area known as Terras de Boro, lands of the Buri, named Burio, until its high Middle Ages.